Hey you guys, what's up? I am back. My name is Nadia and I'm here to talk about officially talk about my transition working from home. A lot of you have jumped down in my comments on my videos and showed so much love on these type of videos. And I just kind of wanted to come back on, because you guys have really been requesting to know about transitioning. Some of you are in more clinical settings, or you kind of want to get more administrative. Some of you are thinking about working remotely. Some of you are, like I say, everybody just kind of, they're just trying to do something different. So I'm just here, y'all. I'm back to talk a little bit, I guess, my experience with everything. So stay tuned. Okay, so first things first. How am I adjusting from working in a facility versus working remotely? And the answer to that is it varies. I'm going to be 100% honest with this. It varies. There are periods where I'm like, hey, I like this. I can get used to this. I'm getting used to it. But there are other moments where I am like, I kind of miss going to work. I kind of miss going to work, y'all. So now those days don't happen too often. Let's make that clear. But I will say I do, if I'm being honest, I have those moments. So first, I guess, my first couple of months have been pretty like a breeze. I take that back. My first couple of months have not been like a breeze because, again, when you go from working, you're used to getting up, going to work. You're used to that dynamic. And then when it just switches to remotely, I don't know. It's just you're by yourself a lot. You do have to force yourself on your breaks to get out, get some sunlight. I will say working remotely, I don't eat like how people expect you would eat, as far as my diet. I feel like it's kind of affected it. What I mean is, most people think that, I'm gonna be home all day, I'm working from home, I don't have to, go anywhere. I'm not really eating any, you're eating your leftovers, you're eating those type of things. But for me, it's I find myself skipping my lunch times, or skipping my times where I normally would eat had I been going to getting up, going to work. So it's affected me in that way, it could be a good or a bad thing, because when I was working in the facility, I was just grabbing whatever was in the cafeteria, or Uber Eats and all that. I was doing that, and I was eating I guess more unhealthy. So now that I'm home, I'm eating from home. So it's not as unhealthy as it would be had I been going somewhere. So I guess that's one pro. That's one pro. I kind of didn't intend on that, but it is what it is. Another thing that I kind of want to talk about when it comes to my transition from working remotely, there are moments when you work, when you go to the hospital and you work, and you may have moments where you can kind of chit chat with a coworker, you can chit chat with your work bestie, you can do all those things, and it might be a little downtime, it might be 30 minutes roll by and nothing's going on, or it's slow. You don't really have that many admissions, you don't really have that many discharges, you don't have that many of it, so you do have that little downtime, and it's not really held against you. However, as I'm working remotely, you have to, productivity is everything. And that has been honestly my struggle, because there are certain ways for you to track that. And when you come from a background to where you don't have to track it, to now, oh shit, I gotta track every minute. So it's been an adjustment for me. I'm getting there though. I'm getting there. I have a supportive team behind me. Honestly, I have, in all my years of working, I have never experienced such support on upper management level ever. So Yeah, it's definitely a game changer. It helps your confidence. It helps all of that. Yeah, I guess the next thing I guess I can kind of talk about is like I guess a con when it comes to productivity, because it's measured so much when you do work remotely, is you don't have that downtime. Like if it's 30 minutes or to talk with a friend or a work bestie or anything like that, you don't have that time. So it's like you feel like you're working more. It's always work to do when you work remotely. So there are periods to where you do have to force yourself, hey, I'm going to take my break, because it's like nonstop. It's nonstop. It's nonstop. And that part, it could be like mentally exhausting. Like when I was working in the emergency room, it was more like physical exhausting. And sometimes, I'm going to be honest, it was emotionally exhausting because of the management I was coming from. And it was emotionally exhausting just because of it was during, the pandemic was like hitting like crazy, and it's still out there now. It's still out there. However, it was just it was different. So it was emotionally a lot going on, and so it's different ways. It's different ways to where it's like you gotta kind of pick your poison when it comes to that. Because when you work remotely, you gonna work. You're gonna work. It's always work to do. There's really no downtime like that unless you're on your breaks. So you just have to be prepared for that when you do that. Now, the flip side of it is I get more flexibility as far as how many hours I want to work in a day. I have flexibility, like for the parents out there, like if you need to tend to your kids, or like, go pick somebody up, or whatever the case may be, it's kind of flexible in that way to where I could do that. So that's a plus, because I have been transitioning from, like, I'm single now, you guys, so I'm a single mama, so a lot of it has come right on time for me during this transition. So yeah, working remotely is good. It's good. It's a blessing. However, there's cons to every single thing. Now, do I miss working in the emergency room? I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I do. And that's only because for the most part, I met some good people. I met some friends and people that I still talk to this day. So I miss that camaraderie, like getting to work. And you be like, ooh, girl, y'all seen that? Ooh, girl. Like everybody do it. Everybody do it. So I kind of miss that. I miss that because I'm kind of like off in the corner by myself. I do talk to some of my teammates. However, when you work remotely, everybody is kind of in their own world, their own zone. And you have to go out of your way more to get to know people when you work remotely. So yeah, you guys, that's kind of like an update, I guess, on how I've been transitioning and adjusting to working remotely. I highly recommend. This is 2022. This is the way the world is going. And it ain't nothing wrong with it. So I did get a question, though, quite a few questions on people who might be like patient care techs, or they might be in housekeeping, or you might be, just doing something different, and you want to hop onto the money side. You want to hop onto the more administrative side of things. It's not hard, you guys. It's not hard. Like, you just apply, just like anything else. You just apply yourself. Just apply. Like, what's the worst you can hear? The worst you can hear is no. And believe it or not, there are always, especially in registration and patient access, there are always positions. And you need what, a high school diploma, GED, and they teach you everything you need to know. So you learn on the job. You just have to make sure you ask questions. When it comes to insurance, you make sure you take advantage, especially if you're in a good predicament where you have good management and a good supervisor, to ask those questions when it comes to billing or picking the right care plan and picking, knowing how to read an insurance card. You could do some of that on your own. Pull out your own insurance card and just get familiar with what a group number is, what a subscriber or member ID is, what numbers to call on the back of the card if you have questions about eligibility and benefits or claims. Like, those are some of the things. It's kind of straight across the board when it comes to billing and insurance when you work in healthcare and you're just starting. I've noticed with a lot of payers, they pretty much have the same rules. So it's kind of like when you learn how a few of them go, then it's not hard to grasp what another payer might require or how that works. You get what I mean? So it's not hard. Just you have to make sure you ask questions, you do your homework. And a lot of the times, you guys, I learned a lot about, insurance. And I'm still learning because it changes so much. I learned that sometimes I get on the phone with a payer and I'll just ask them questions, if it's something I don't know, just do not be afraid to jump in there and say, hey, like, what does an adjustment mean? Claim adjustment mean? What does it mean? Like, just ask. But one thing about it is when it comes to learning insurance and transitioning from like that more clinical to administrative side, it's repetition. It's repetition when you start learning what a deductible is, a coinsurance, a copay. And to be honest, a lot of those things, you have systems in place with your hospital, with your facility, that kind of configure those things for you. They configure it for you a lot of times. So it's like, it's not difficult, you guys. It's really not. So for those of you who are like just now getting into your registration or just now getting into administrative side or financial side of the hospital or healthcare, just know that a lot of the times everybody's learning. Like, things change weekly. Like, we have meetings weekly on things that have changed with payers. So don't let that pressure get to you as to, I don't know this and I don't know what this means and I don't know what don't. I promise you, because it comes with just overtime and repetition. So I feel like I kind of got everything. I feel like I kind of got everything, you guys. Y'all let me know in the comments if you have any other questions about transitioning. If some of you are transitioning from more clinical side or housekeeping, or you're coming from, the kitchen and you just really want to start fresh. It is something that when you do get onto the administrative side, or what can I say, not administrative side, the non-clinical side of healthcare, it is it's levels. You can move up. You don't have to be stuck in one area. Like, there's really levels. Like, I started out as a unit clerk, and that's where I learned a lot of the base, like the more medical terminology, and learning about physician notes and learning about medical records and learning about all the consent forms that you'll get familiar with. A lot of it is electronic, so you don't have to worry about it. But a lot of those things you will see again and again and again. And just getting used to not being intimidated by other clinical staff, like, because you're new. Like, I don't care that you're a doctor. Like, I care, but at the same time, we all have a job to do. Not being intimidated to ask a doctor a question sometimes if you need to. You get what I mean? Or asking a nurse sometimes that might, it just depends on where you're working. Like, if you're on a unit, are you in the emergency room? It just depends. Just getting used to and just putting yourself more in a position to grow and to learn. I started out there as a unit clerk, and then I just kind of like just start applying, you guys. Like I was like, okay, hey, I want to I want to, you know, do a financial, be a financial specialist. So I went ahead and did that. And when I started that position, I was so intimidated. I was so scared. I was just like, dang, like this is new stuff. I don't know anything about it. But I didn't have to worry, because guess what? As soon as I started, my department gave me everything I needed to know and learn. And then when I got in there, I'm like, oh, this ain't hard. Like, this is what I was tripping about. This is not hard, you know. So it is a learning curve if it's new to you. However, it is growth in it. It's very much so growth in it, you guys. So again, drop down in the comments, you guys. Let me know if you have any questions about transitioning into the insurance world, into billing. Now, I don't know too much about coding now. I don't know too much about coding. However, I have been contemplating jumping into that field, but you know, we got to pray on that. We got to really pray on that, you guys. So anyway, it was good to see y'all again. It was good to jump back in front of the camera, you guys. It's been a long year already for me, but again, talk to y'all later. Bye.